kindergartners, we're going to work on your reading station today. So we're going to be working on some skills that will help us become better readers. And when you become a better reader, you become a better writer too. It's kind of cool how it works like that. But before we get into what worksheets, what I would like you to do on your worksheets, I want to explain something to you. Oh, maybe I should show you what worksheets you're going to need in case one of your parents needs to grab it for you. Okay, you're going to need your J worksheet, and if they let you, you can use watercolors on this. A reindeer color by sight word worksheet, and the looking for the letter J worksheet. All right, what I wanted, oh, there's one more thing. You're going to need the little baggie that has the snowflakes on it. And inside, there's some little gift tags like you could put on a package. Yeah, you'll need that too. All right, now here's what I wanted to talk to you about. There's different kinds of words that we see when we're reading. Some of the words we can sound out. They follow the rules, and we know the rules for sounding them out. Now, remember, when I say sound out, it means that I make the sound that the letters stand for, and then I blend those sounds together. That's one of the reasons why we will be working on recognizing what the letter J looks like, because no matter which way you see the J made, I want your brain to learn to think J, J when you see the letter J. That way you can use it for sounding out. All right. But there's also words that we use that don't follow the rules. Yeah, they're rule breakers. And sometimes there's words that are rule followers, they follow the rules, but we don't know all those rules yet because it takes a bit of time to learn all the different rules and what they call exceptions to the rules. So, exceptions to the rules are times when the rule usually works, but every now and then it doesn't. So that's why we have something called sight words. So let me show you what I mean by that. All right, I'm thinking about the letter J. Okay, so of course, I'm going to move this a little bit closer. I think it'll be easier to see it. I'm thinking about the letter J this week. And here's my letter J. And up here in my chart, I put some different chunks or parts of words. And I'm going to show you how sometimes it works just fine to sound things out. Like if I put the J in front of a, b, j, ab. What do you hear? J, ab. All right, what do you hear? Let's go with Lillian. Job. Yes, like your dad has a job to earn money. Good, the word job. We sounded it out. It didn't give us any grief. It followed the rules. The O said like octopus. The B said b, and the G said j. Wait, did I say G? The J said j. So we were fine. It worked. All right, here's another one. Let's try this one. Let's go j, at, j, at. Could you hear it? All right, what did you hear? Benjamin? Jet, right, like a jet flies through the air. Again, follow the rules. All the letters made the sounds that we expect them to make. J said j, B said eh, and T said t. J, at, jet. Okay, let's try another one. That one had the vowel E. This one has a short A. Now, there is a C and a K, but they both say k. So this part says ack, ack. Now I'm going to put the J in front of it. Jack. What did you hear? Brooklyn? Jack. Right, like Jack and Jill went up the hill. Yes, you're right. It should be a capital J, like when we write Jackson's name. That would work much better, wouldn't it? Okay, what was that, Martin? If I do Jack, then I should do Jill? Well, let's see what we can do about that. What do you say about this, Martin? What does this say? Ill. Yes, you're right. Ill is a word all by itself. It means to be sick. If you feel ill, you might feel sick. But what if you put the j in front of it? J, ill. Yes, now we've got it. I'm glad you were thinking like that, Martin, because now we've got both Jack and Jill. And yes, you're right. We should be capitalizing their names. All right, Kaden, what do you think about this one? This one says, g. What if I put j in front of it? J, jug. Yes, like a jug full of syrup. Ooh, that would be delicious. Like, yum, maple syrup, pour it on pancakes. Yum, that would be good. Good job, Kaden. Jug. You know, all of these words, they followed the rules. We could sound them out. It wasn't a problem for us. But sometimes we find words like this. Let me write this word up on the board. Let's go this one. We're just starting to look at this book. I hope you can see that. All right, good. If I sounded this out, it would go like this. Ta, ah, ta. Guess what? It doesn't say ta, does it? You know what it says already, don't you? Nick, what does it say? Two. Very good. So I just have to look at that word and I have to know that it says two. Yeah, you're right. There are other ways to write the word two. There's the number two, T, W, O. We're working on memorizing that, aren't we? And then there's a T, oo, like also, T, oo. You're right. Yep. Thanks for the bonus lesson. I'm glad that you mentioned that to us. Okay, now, there's other words, right? Like, what about this word? Let's try to sound it out. H, F, F. H, F, F. Well, wait a minute. I see things here the word I knew that. Maybe I can just say hurrah. No, that's not a word. It sounds like hurry up. We got something to do. But no, that's not it. Uh-oh. This might be another one of those words that we just have to memorize. And it is. It's here. Like, I'm here. Are you? Look at this word. Air. This is like where, oh, where has my little dog gone? But if I say hair, what hair? Kind of close. It's still a little tricky. I think I should just memorize it. Where? All right. Well, the reason why I'm talking to you about words we can sound out versus words we have to memorize is because today I want you to make some little flashcards to help you work on 5 special words in December. Now, you know we can read I, can, yep, we've worked on we've worked on a number, we worked on and, didn't we? All right, well, some of the other words that we all need to know by the end of December, you have to know these words. These are the 5 words, all right? Now, we need the word to, okay, that's why I mentioned it. Maybe I should get rid of some of these so they're not in the way. But I'm going to show you something about to in a minute, so you might not want to choose that. We need the word you, Y, O, U, and I just want you to memorize it because it's a bit tricky. Speaking of tricky, my throat's getting tricky. We need do, like, do you mind if I pause and get a drink of water? All right, let's hope that tickle in my throat is all gone and I'll stop interrupting. Okay, we've got to, you, do. We just had to memorize that one. My, with a tricky Y in it. And then we have the word go. And many of you have already started to memorize this word, but we have the word and. These are some words that are important for us to get down during the month of December. So, you can choose 5 of those words to write on each one of these little cards, and then we can practice them. Don't write them quite yet, because some of you might decide on different words. The reason why I didn't think we should write the word to, because look at it says to and from on there already. So it's like a bonus. You can read those a lot and already know those. So I wouldn't use the one of my tags up on the word to because I already have it. So if you're going to do these words, I would take a nice dark marker, a dark crayon. Okay, and you want to make sure if you use marker crayon, you have to get it right the first time. So you might do it in pencil first in case you need to erase and trace over it. And you would write that word really big, Y-O-U. Okay, you're making a little special flashcard. All right, I'm going to set it there. Now, some of you might look at these words and say, but Mrs. Finkel, I've been practicing those and I'm pretty good at those words already. You might say, I would like to try to work on some really tricky words during the month of December so that later on in the year, when I have a whole bunch of tricky words, I'll already know some of the really tricky ones. Here's a couple examples of words we need to know by the end of kindergarten, but they're tricky, so some of you might want to practice them now. There's the word does, total rule breaker. It doesn't do anything you think it's going to do. The word where, I know I mentioned that one earlier. I think that's one of the trickiest words to remember. Where. What is also tricky. We use it quite a bit, but it sounds like a short U, but it's not. You just have to know it. They, I don't know what that E and the Y think they're doing, but they pretend like they make a long A sound, but they don't. And here, these are some words that I'm suggesting you might want to put on your cards if you already know these. But if you don't know these words yet, don't worry about these. We'll get to those later. Okay, if you don't know these, it's silly to work on these right now because we want to get these down. These are a lot of the stories we're going to be reading. So you would take the different cards and you would write one of each of these words on there. I already did you, so then I would write do, O, tracing it a couple times so that it really sticks out so I can see it well. Do. Good. Did you write it? Good. Right. Then I'm going to write my. Go. G-O. I know we've been practicing that one. Go. Now what's the other one I didn't do yet? I think it's going to be and. All right. Let's do and. A and D. That one wasn't as tricky for me because it's the first half of my name, so it was easier for me to learn that word when I was starting out. Yeah, because my mom was already working on my name with me, so I only had to add a couple letters. Sometimes you get a bonus like that. Maybe it's a word that's in a brother or sister's name or something like that, so it's a little easier for you to memorize. Now, let's talk about what you do with these. Does it help if you write the words on here one time? Well, it helps a little bit because it was good to write them. But then what you need to do is you need to practice them. Like maybe you could do this. Like you could lay them down on the floor and you could kind of play a game with yourself. You could try to flip it over and you read it. My. Okay, then you flip it back over. Then you flip over the next word and you say it. And you keep doing it. Maybe you have a brother or sister and you'll say, all right, we're going to flip it over and whoever reads it first wins that point. You. Yep. You'd see who won it first. And sometimes you'll get someone in your family to hold the words and just show it to you. And then you have to think, you, do. That one's upside down. And, my, go. And you don't just do it one time. You do it over and over again. That's part of the process of memorizing. You could even go up to maybe Dad just got in from work and he's sitting down to relax from it. You say, okay, Dad, pick a card, any card. All right. And then Dad picks one. You say, okay, Dad, you have to read it. And see if Dad can read it. And then you look at it and you say, yep, that was correct. Or try again, Dad. Sometimes dads might try to trick you and make you think they don't know it. But you know, you won't get tricked. And then you could go to somebody different in the family and say, okay, pick a card, which one? And you keep doing it over and over again. Sometimes it's hard to repeat things over and over again. I agree with you. I remember when I was in school, we would do our words, and then when you get a little bit older, you probably will have spelling words too. And then sometimes we had to memorize like verses or sayings. And what I would try to do, because I would get nervous, oh boy, I'm going to forget this on the day I have to say it to the teacher. And what I would do is just when I thought I couldn't say it over again in my head one more time, I'd say it one more time. And then I think, I did it more than I thought I could. So just when you think, like, okay, that's it, I don't want to read this word again, read it one more time. And then you're kind of pushing yourself. Yep, it's kind of like when you're exercising. I know some of you like to play sports, right? You like to play football or basketball or gymnastics. Some of you are in dance, right? So just when you think you can't do that exercise one more time, and you say, okay, I'm going to try to do it one more time. And then you kind of grow, right? You get a little bit better. And that's how these words are going to stick in your brain better and better. Do you need to do 40 words every night? No. You'd get tired of it and then you wouldn't want to do it anymore. But you need to kind of push yourself and say, all right, I think I can do this. Oh, yeah. If you have, say you have 5 letters of the alphabet that are still stuck and that you can't memorize them, you could do a letter on each one of these. Sure, if that's still your goal, absolutely. We need to get those down too. But now we know why some words we can just sound out because they follow the rules, and some words we have to memorize or put them in our brains. All right, let's get to your assignment. For this one, you know how to do it. You can either use a marker to trace inside and practice making capital J, lowercase j. I know you'll think about how capital J is tall. Lowercase j starts at the middle line. It falls below. Yes, some of you don't put the line at the top of the J. It's all right. They're made both ways. Some people like to do the top on the J and some people don't. If you have watercolors, if your parents say you can, these are fun for watercolors, but don't just paint the whole thing. Trace in between so your mind gets used to memorizing that. Speaking of memorizing, you want to memorize the different ways to see the letter J. So every time you see J, go ahead and color it. All right, and speaking of coloring, this one I thought was kind of fun. Everywhere you see the word go, you want to color it red. So this space would be red, this would be red, this would be red. You see the word see, S-E-E, you'd color it green. So that'll be green. Oh, this is going to be cute. Those will be green. Me is going to be brown. M-E, me. These should be brown. And my, M-Y. You're right. You recognized it. It's up there on our list. It's one of our sight words. My is going to be black for this one. Now, as you're coloring it, think about what that word is. That's another way of memorizing. Yep, as you're coloring, to think about it. All right, boys and girls, thank you for working with me today on knowing the difference between words we sound out and words we memorize, and learning some different ways to help us memorize our words. I would say good luck, but I think you're going to do great with your station, so you don't need it. So have fun.